Hi everyone, good afternoon. We are group 2 from the Introduction to Communication Research course, and to be very honest, we're so excited to share with you our research findings for the Daniel or Revelation. Which do you prefer? Investigation. Group 2 consists of 4 members, 4 researchers: Dorothea Grant, yours truly, Jada Jackson, Shakiria Drummond, and Krishana Barrett. We conducted an investigation over a few weeks, collecting different perspectives and opinions, which you're going to be hearing about in this video. Now stay tuned. To begin with an introduction, what's the background? What is the significance of this research? Well, honestly, we only did this research because it was assigned to us. It was such an interesting concept to compare persons' opinions at a university institution of 2 biblical books. Which one do they prefer? Why do they prefer it? How does it apply? It's quite an interesting concept which we probably would not have thought of on our own without the help of our lecturer, Mrs. Roma White Tomlinson. And so the background of our research and its significance is that the choice of biblical texts can reveal a great deal about an individual's worldview, values, and perspectives. In an academic institution like here at NCU, where there are diverse disciplines coexisting, understanding the preferences of students from different departments provides valuable insights into their spiritual and intellectual inclinations. The focus of this research centers on the School of Religion and Theology and the Department of Communication Studies, 2 academic fields with potentially contrasting opinions of biblical literature. So here's the thing. At NCU, the School of Religion and Theology deeply focuses on the Bible because that's where Bible workers, evangelists, pastors in training go to study and deeply understand what the Bible is all about. And so they look thoroughly through every book of the Bible. In the Department of Communication Studies, that's where our communicators go, or journalists, or radio personnel, or TV production executives, even our producers. That's where they go to study. And so while the Bible may not be as huge of a textbook in the Department of Communication Studies as it is in the School of Religion and Theology, it's also integrated in Communication Studies because NCU is an Adventist institution, and so faith is integrated into all departments and concepts that is being taught. And so we believe that they're likely going to have contrasting opinions on their preference of Daniel or Revelation. In the Christian Bible, Daniel and Revelation, these books hold significance for their narratives of resilience and divine intervention. Daniel resonates with those persons seeking personal guidance, while Revelation's prophetic and apocalyptic themes appeal to those interested in eschatology and societal issues. This study at NCU aims to explore students' preferences in these books, examining their unique preferences and spiritual inclinations, which may influence their academic and personal lives. Now, what is the purpose of the study? This study seeks to explore students' perceived relevance of the biblical books. So how does it apply to them? Examining their spiritual convictions, their intellectual curiosity, and their personal experiences surrounding this book. It will provide insights into faith, academics, and their personal development. Now, every research has a problem statement, and ours is this. The study aims to address the apparent divergence in preferences between students enrolled in the School of Religion and Theology and those in the Department of Communication Studies at NCU regarding their favored biblical book, specifically Daniel or Revelation. The study observed difference This observed difference raises concerns about the potential impact on the students' academic and personal lives, prompting an investigation into the factors contributing to the varied choices and the implications of these preferences for their spiritual and academic development. So in simpler terms, we want to know how their preferences in book, Daniel or Revelation, impacts their spiritual and academic development. Because if NCU is all about total well-being and improving the total human, then they're also focused on the spiritual and the academic. And finding out which book their students prefer gives them a clue as to where their students' minds are at. Let's talk about the abstract. This research investigates the attitudes and preferences of college students across two academic departments, communication studies and theology, regarding their engagement with the biblical books of Daniel and Revelation. The study involves responses from 30 participants from each college, revealing insights into their academic levels, their reading habits, their preferences, and perceptions of the two biblical texts. Now, research questions are important to guiding a research, a study, so that we're not all over the place. It narrows the scope. And so our research question is as follows. What are the preferences and perspectives of students from the School of Religion and Theology and students from the Department of Communication Studies at the Northern Caribbean University on the biblical books Daniel and Revelation? Or sub-questions. What books do most students of communication prefer? What book do most students of theology prefer? What insights can be gathered regarding the perceived relevance of each book in their academic and personal lives? So this research is going to be very beneficial to the Northern Caribbean University into having an idea of how their students think, what their students prefer, and how their students interpret the Bible, the books of the Bible, and how their level of applying it to their personal lives, which will also give them an insight into what areas they need to focus on more in improving the spiritual lives of their students. What about the research hypotheses? Tell us, Christiana.
So for our research hypothesis, we predicted that the students from the School of Religion and Theology here at Northern Caribbean University would have been the ones who would read more of the books Daniel and Revelation than that of the students of the Department of Communication Studies. Why? Just the mere fact that they're students of the School of Religion and Theology. They come here on a daily basis to study the books of the Bible. So based on that, as well as the fact that they are preparing to become ministers of the gospel and evangelists, pastors, and that sort of thing, we had just assumed that they would have been more prone to read more of those books.
The book of Daniel provides an account of the experiences of Daniel and the faithful Jews who were taken into captivity to Babylon. As students study the book of Daniel, they can learn the importance of remaining faithful to God and qualifying to receive the blessings He gives to those who are faithful to Him. It also contains the interpretation of an important dream that King Nebuchadnezzar had about the kingdom of God in the last days. Daniel's story unfolds as a tapestry of trials and divine interventions. Through his unwavering commitment to his beliefs and his remarkable ability to interpret dreams and vision, Daniel emerged as a beacon of hope and guidance for his people and for generations to come. The lessons embedded within the book of Daniel remain profoundly relevant to modern-day society. The book emphasizes the importance of remaining faithful and integrity in the face of challenges. The lesson is relevant to modern society where individuals may encounter ethical dilemmas and need the strength to unfold the principles. The encouragement displayed by Daniel and his friends when confronted with life-threatening situations serve as inspiration for facing adversity with resilience. This is particularly relevant to young college students navigating the challenges of academic and personal life. The survey of theology and communication studies students revealed a significant level of interest in the book of Daniel, with many participants expressing a desire to learn more about its message and its relevance to their lives. Despite a number of those individuals responded that they were not familiar with the book, the others described the book as interesting, dedicated, powerful, and passionate. The students found the book's theme of faith, resilience, hope, and to be particularly meaningful in today's world. The book of Daniel, with its timeless themes and inspiring narratives, continues to offer valuable guidance to individuals seeking meaningful and purpose in life. Its lessons of integrity, courage, and unwavering faith resonate deeply within modern-day society, particularly with young college students facing the challenges of the 21st century. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, Daniel's unwavering faith and wisdom serve as a beacon of hope, reminding us of the enduring power of human and the unwavering love of God.
Now, let us look at a summary of the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation represents early Christians' apocalyptic hopes, predicting an intervention from God to establish a new world. The book of Revelation is also called the Apocalypse. It's the final book of the New Testament in the Christian Bible. It is prophetic and apocalyptic and attributed to the Apostle John, who describes different visions that he had on the island of Patmos. The central theme of this book now revolves around the revelation of Jesus Christ and the culmination of God's plan for the world. The book employs vivid and symbolic imagery, and if you've ever read Revelation, you know that it has some serious imagery featuring 7 seals, 7 trumpets, and different beasts, each unleashing divine judgment upon the earth. The narrative includes the depiction of a cosmic battle between good and evil, the emergence of an antichrist, and the ultimate, praise God, triumph of God's kingdom. This is according to Swindoll 2010. The climatic chapters of this book reveal the establishment of a new heaven and a new earth, symbolizing the culmination of God's redemptive work and the eternal dwelling of the righteous with God. The book of Revelation is both a source of comfort for believers, and it's also a call to remain steadfast in faith despite the different trials and tribulations that are described in the words and lines of Revelation. Funny enough, as we move into the literature review, or as we move further into the literature review, funny enough, there is not much literature that exists that speaks to this research topic at all, Daniel or Revelation. There's not much that speaks to the general preference of any specific group of persons about a general preference of either book. But we did find different social media platforms like Reddit that engages people anonymously and collects public opinion of both books. When asked about their opinion of Revelation, for example, we noticed a mixed response in terms of opinions on Reddit. Reddit users said things like, I think the letters at the beginning are underrated in regards to Revelation in their potential importance, understandably because the prophecies overshadow the letters. Revelation begins literally with the resurrected Jesus standing over John the Revelator's shoulder and saying, write down exactly these words to the exact churches. Furthermore, person said, I can't make sense of it, and so far I haven't seen any explanation of it that makes sense to me. So I'm going to leave it alone and pray that God gives me the wisdom to know what to do with it. In the meantime, I'm going to refrain from reaching any specific conclusions from that book. It should never be included in the Bible in the first place, said another. It's a glorious book, primarily about the return of Jesus Christ and the 7 years that precede it, said another user. It's the only book with a blessing promised to those who study it. And another comment said that people need to stop using it to try and figure out who the beast is. And so we noticed that there are mixed opinions of Reddit users who come from all over the world. These posts are made in 2023, so they're recent. Persons believe that it makes no sense. Persons believe it should not have been included in the Bible. And others believe that its promises are sure and it glorifies Jesus. But now, what about Daniel? What does literature say about person's preference of Daniel? Many individuals view Daniel as a pivotal prophetic work that provides insight into the future, especially with its predictions about empires and the coming of the Messiah. Some appreciate its narrative elements, such as the stories of Daniel and his friends in Babylon, highlighting themes of faith, courage, and divine intervention, like Shakira spoke about earlier. Critics and skeptics, on the other hand, question the historical accuracy of certain events, and they view apocalyptic vision as symbolic rather than predictive. The Book of Daniel has been a subject of scholarly debates, with discussions around its authorship, dating, and theological significance. And this information is according to Quora, a site that also collects public persons' opinion. Under the post, can we trust the biblical book of Daniel, and is it really authentic? Now, this is the main literature that we found, which is in the form of social media posts that collects persons' opinions on books, and it suggests that persons have mixed feelings about both books. So let us dive further into what our findings were as it relates to the School of Religion and the Department of Communication Studies.
So, for the methodology, this survey was conducted during the third week of October to gauge student preference between the biblical books of Daniel and Revelation. Now, this survey consisted of 15 questions with 10 closed-ended questions to gather some quantitative data, and 5 open-ended questions to allow students to express their opinions freely. So, this mixed method it enabled the collection of both structured and unstructured data, which then provides a more comprehensive understanding of student preferences between biblical books of Daniel and Revelation.
At this time, what you are seeing on the screen is a sample of the instrument used throughout our research. We used Google Forms as it was the easiest format available to us to send out quickly to persons from the School of Religion and Theology and Department of Communication Studies. You will see a mixture of both quantitative and qualitative questions, open-ended questions that they have to write their complete thought, and they are given the opportunity to fully express themselves. And so we applied a mixed approach while collecting the data using a Google Forms application.
I just want to say thank you to everyone for participating in our survey, which aimed to explore the perspectives of individuals in different academic programs and the biblical books of Daniel and Revelation. We received a total of 30 responses from a diverse group of students representing communication studies and theology. Here are the key findings. So 75% of these students are from the Department of Communication Studies, while another 25% of these responses are from students from the Department of Theology. Okay, as we're seeing here, the distribution indicates a higher representation of sophomore students, possibly suggesting a deeper engagement with the chosen biblical text as they progress in their studies. Okay, so moving on to their reading habits. So the majority of these participants indicated that they read their Bible very often, while 37.5% of these responses are that they read their Bible very often, which is great, reflecting a strong engagement with religious texts. The good thing about this is that none of these respondents state that they don't read their Bible, so quite a very good reading habits between these group of students. The study of Daniel and Revelation in their different programs. Majority of these respondents state that they study the 2 biblical books in their programs. So despite the majority being theology students, a small portion don't think that they study Daniel and Revelation in their programs for whatever reason that wasn't shared in the survey. As we're seeing here, the students are mostly familiar with the book of Revelation than of the book of Daniel. So, reasons for preference. Just as I mentioned before, the students are mostly familiar with the book of Revelation. And the same year, which of the following biblical books do you prefer? The book of Revelation is still in the win. 62.5% prefer Revelation, while another 35.5% prefer the book of Daniel. Okay, so the students share their reasons as to why they prefer one particular book over the other. Okay, so One student from theology stated that Daniel comes with stories. Another theology student stated that Revelation speaks about the end time which is now fulfilling. One communication studies student stated that Daniel shares more information about God and I'm keen to knowing. Another theology student stated that Revelation holds a promise of the future and urge saved and unsaved to repent so we can be caught up with Christ. Another communication studies student stated that Revelation can be tricky to explain. I do not have a problem with knowing and understanding the content, but I am more versed with Daniel. This response is from a communication studies student who state, Revelation speaks about heaven and how beautiful it is going to be. And the final response is from a theology student. Revelation speaks more about the end of time and the return of Jesus, which is a very encouraging and exciting subject for me. Okay, so here the words used to describe each book highlights the tone associated with Revelation and Daniel. So one word used to describe the book of Revelation. So majority of the students state that the book is truthful, relevant, interesting, complex, and nightmare. So those are some of the words that the students used to describe the book of Revelation. Now, with the book of Daniel, majority of the students describe the book as passionate and powerful. Well, a small percentage of 10.9 state that they describe the book as faithfulness and purposeful. Okay, so right here, as it relates to how relevant each book is to college students, a notable percentage finds both Daniel and Revelation relevant to college students. Okay, so moving on. As we are seeing here, all respondents believe that studying Daniel and Revelation can be beneficial for non-religious purposes, example, college life. While both books are considered applicable, as we are seeing here, Revelation holds a slight edge in terms of daily life relevance according to the responses. Okay, so a recommended book for learning about the Bible. Despite personal preferences, as we're seeing the responses, respondents are more inclined to recommend the book of Daniel to a friend interested in learning about the Bible instead of Revelation. Okay, so moving on, the students were asked the question, what is one specific lesson or teaching from your preferred book that you find applicable to modern struggles? So we got a number of responses. A few of these responses are, in the book of Daniel, one teaching that I find applicable is to always be faithful, and this is from a theology student. Another response, which is also from a theology student, in the book of Daniel, Jesus promised that following him would be easy, and not just like everything in life that a person wants, it will not be easy to accomplish. Another response from a communication studies student, in Revelation it says we shall overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by testimonies. It is encouraging to know that though we struggle, we shall overcome. And another response, which is from a theology student again, in Revelation it speaks about how the saints overcome. How? By the blood of the Lamb. It essentially teaches students how to trust in God no matter what, because by His blood we are able to overcome our struggles. And last but no means least, several participants shared experiences where the book influenced their faith, prayer habits, and understanding of life events, suggesting a personal connection to the content. Here are some of the responses. The fact that Daniel prays for the interpretation of dreams had influenced me to start doing the same when I have dreams, and it has led to interesting revelations about people and decisions I've had to make. Another response stated that I was struggling with my faith for years. It was getting harder each day for me to have a normal life. Things were getting out of control, and I was recommended by a friend to read the book of Daniel. Daniel's faithfulness is an example to us all, and just by reading Daniel, everything changed for me. Daniel never relied on himself or trust in his strength or wisdom, but instead prayed to God and asked him for help and guidance. This book taught me how to always trust in God and how to be faithful. And another response stated that I had a dream a couple years ago, and it happened just as how I saw it in my dream. So, just to conclude, the survey provides valuable insights into how students from different academic backgrounds engage with the biblical books of Daniel and Revelation. The findings suggest a diverse range of perspectives, emphasizing the relevance and impact of these texts on both academic and personal aspects of life. The results have shown that the Book of Revelation is more popular among the students of communication studies and theology.
Now for the limitations. Every research has its ups and downs, it has its limitations, and for this research, it was really no different. So this study's limitation include the incomplete responses from the participants, potentially due to the survey's length of 15 questions, and additionally the recruitment process. It was very tedious, and also it resulted in an uneven distribution of communication studies students and theology students, which later then impacted the interpretation of the findings. As for ethical considerations, there was informed consent, some level of privacy, as well as voluntary participation. So as you can see in the pictures that would have been displayed previously, at the top of the form, there was just a little paragraph, a little message to the readers and the persons who will participate in the survey, that giving them information as to what the form is about, and also requesting their consent to use the information that they would have put on the form. Also, as for privacy, we never asked anybody for personal information, so no date of birth, no phone number, nothing of that sort. All the responses were kept anonymous, and we just used the responses that we got just for strict data collection. Also, no one was forced to participate in this survey. Everything was done voluntarily. The forms were sent out, and persons had a choice as to whether or not they wanted to fill it out. So for the recommendations, after every research and after the presentation of findings and the analysis of data, we would really like to recommend just 4 little things to the students that participated in our research. Now, I just have 4 little tips or things to recommend to them that I think would help them to better understand the biblical books of Daniel and Revelation. So now, to enhance their understanding of the biblical books of Daniel and Revelations, we recommend students to increase their engagement with biblical study. I recommend that you dedicate more time and effort into exploring the scriptures, fostering a deeper connection with their teachings. Recommendation number 2, recognize the equal importance of both books. So I want them to appreciate the unique perspectives and the messages presented in each book, acknowledging their distinct contributions to the overall biblical narrative. Recommendation number 3, utilize effective study methods. Now, we're in an era where social media is mostly where students get their information from. Speaking for myself, most of the times I learn majority of the things that I know. Well, I wouldn't say majority, but I learn most things on TikTok, right? And I also learned about a Bible study method, and I would like to recommend it to the students who participated in this research. Now, so you can employ tools like the SOAP method, which is scripture observation,
application, and prayer to systematically analyze and interpret the scriptures. Now, everyone here at the Northern Caribbean University must have the course God and Human Life. And in God and Human Life, we were taught about conducting exegesis of the scriptures, with and doing hermeneutics, which is the study of the scriptures and all of that. So I would like to recommend, we as a group would like to recommend that the students engage in detailed exegesis. Now, we would like them to conduct thorough examinations of the scriptures, delving into the historical, literary, and theological context to uncover hidden layers of meaning of the scriptures. So this is really what we recommend, and when they uncover hidden layers and meanings, they will get more significance of the scriptures.
So just to wrap up our research findings in a nice and cute little bow, we investigated the preferences of the students of the Northern Caribbean University, specifically the School of Religion and Theology and the Department of Communication Studies. Our conclusion was that the students of the School of Religion and Theology vastly prefer the Book of Revelation in comparison to the students of the Communication Studies, which is somewhat not surprising because they do study the book in depth, and to just an average Bible reader, the Book of Revelation might be a little complex. We also found that students do have a general connection to both books, experiences with both books, and honest understanding of both books and how it can apply to their academic and personal life. We encourage persons to continue reading the book, delving into it, and investigating the history of both books as well. And to future persons who decide to investigate this same topic, we encourage that they become certain of the number of students within the School of Religion and Theology, because we were not able to meet the full quota of participants from that school. Thank you for those who participated. Thank you to those who listened to our findings, and we hope that this information will be beneficial to how you plan events, how the Northern Caribbean University plan events moving forward, and how they cater to the spiritual and academic needs of their students' lives. Thank you. Goodbye from Group 2.